Identity by Fijiana, with a focus of the femme and queer gaze.
And we're going to take a look at it primarily focusing on location and movements / body language as the two areas of focus here.
Fijiana. Fijiana.
So right off the bat here, you saw that kind of almost the first scene that shows up, but it comes back again, and it will come back throughout this video. But one of the shot locations here is the Fiji market, local Fiji market, and this is incredibly important for a place of community building, especially for these women of color, because having a store that sells your food and everyday things relating to your ethnic background is incredibly important for building a sense of community and identity and a place to exist. When we look across America, we have obviously places like Japantown and Chinatown that have completely expanded upon this and just have entire neighborhoods dedicated to representing a specific community. But also, we've got some places we've talked about there this semester. We have the places like the I Hotel, which is the Filipino immigrants to San Francisco, where they've lived, and they always talk about how what they do every day. They'll go down to the Chinese market, and they'll hang out or play billiards and talk while at the meat market out in the street. So without these markets, without this Fiji market, it's kind of hard to exist as a South Asian living in the Bay Area.
Why they tryna tell me what I can and cannot do? Appropriating my shit but calling my shit savage too. Telling me to go back home, I think you must be confused. Telling us that we too talk, cause it's unknown shine for you. I'm pretty nice, not usually mean, but if you talk about my people, I might have to intervene. We could play cool and forget the pain that we psych, bitch. You know this suffering wasn't done for free. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. Hailing from the coolie diaspora, know what that means.
So when she talks about being from the coolie diaspora, it's because she is specifically Indo-Fijian. So Indo-Fijians were brought to the Fiji Islands by like the British in the 1880s to work on like sugarcane and other plantations as like laborers. So a large percent of the total population in Fiji is like comprised of Indo-Fijians because of this like colonization. That is like kind of where she's talking about when she calls herself from the coolie diaspora.
I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. Hailing from the coolie diaspora, know what that means. It means my people had to struggle just to try to be seen. Always trying to suppress this, do you know what I see? I see everyone around you staring at me on their screens, talking about how Pallavi is the woman of their dreams.
So something interesting about her description of everybody trying to put her down is because India has a caste system. It has officially been removed, but the caste system where there's like social marriage and persistent inequalities between the caste system still exists, and the identity that you're born into through that caste system hugely impacts how you live, because men don't tend to want to marry women of lower caste and they see them as lesser. And within the song she talks about how people's perception through this caste system affects her, because as a lower skilled laborer, she is on the lowest of the caste system because of that.
Never thought you'd see a girl like me come back from defeat. Asking me all of these questions as I'm walking down these streets. Always trying to define, but I'm my own identity.
So she used a bunch of religious imagery, like just in the last couple of scenes, of not only like of Christianity but also of Hinduism, and this is because Fiji has a like their biggest religion is Hinduism, but they have a Christian and evangelical like population too. And Fijiana herself is a relatively like spiritual person, so she likes taking aspects of different religions and like implementing them in her own beliefs, but she doesn't specifically follow one set of religion, even though she grew up Hindu.
Yeah, and just like representing that religious diversity throughout this music video, I feel like is also part of that femme gaze, rather than kind of this blanket view that you often see with like the Eurocentric white male gaze of kind of everyone's Christian and there's not really that freedom to express yourself religiously. And in this way, again, ties back to that community building and that sense of intersectional identity.
Like me, come back from defeat. Asking me all of these questions as I'm walking down these streets. Always trying to define, but I'm my own identity. Always trying to define, but I'm my own identity. Let me make it clear, we ain't talking about a race. We talking about a system that's always trying to erase the voices of the young oppressed until they fade. That's why we need to continue in order to create. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. Hailing from the coolie diaspora, know what that mean. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. Hailing from the coolie diaspora, know what that mean. They take our people.
So we can tell by all the movements like throughout what we've watched in this music video that they're all very comfortable and confident, and they're all presenting themselves as like we are staring right back at you. We're not being unseen. They like everybody stares at the camera basically. They're watching us. We, instead of seeing them and positioning our own like biases on them, we're like that view is turned back at us.
Yeah, exactly. They're assuming control and that self identity and self-defining of who they are as well. And it's complete reversal on the typical media portrayal of women, of being subordinate, of being kind of just bossed around. And I mean, behind the scenes as well, this project was 100% like funded by people of color and run 80% of women of color. So it completely lines up with how this music video was made. I think that was an important part of it as well, that this project was driven by like South Asian, people of color, rather than made by white men, pretty much.
They take our past, they throw it all away. They take our voices, they take our land, they take our right to play. They didn't know we come from resilience and faith. We still here, we staying here, we leading the way. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. Hailing from the coolie diaspora, know what that mean. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen. That I'm a brown bitch, melanin rich Fijian queen.
A lot of her movements, or like the other people's movements in this, feel like very modern, because I would say that it takes a lot of draws from hip hop, of this like overconfidence and like a female-led dynamicism of when you're like on stage, there's like a certain portrayal that you're expected to do. So that's like certain feelings that I see when I see their movements.
Yeah, but it's important that it draws from hip hop, which is obviously like historically like a black cultural phenomenon. Obviously, Fijiana has had the other video Welcome to the Bay, where she's wearing the shirt that says Bay culture is black culture. But that totally ties in another aspect of the femme gaze, of, well, specifically the brown gaze, which is that, you know, these brown women, they're all kind of united, and they have this shared experience with black women as well. And they're not separate experiences, despite how much these institutions try to pin these minority groups against each other. But instead, it's a breathing, collaborative community that's shared. And by borrowing, well, not borrowing, by using these hip-hop gestures into this music video, it really exemplifies that shared sense of community.
Helen from the coolie diaspora know what that mean.
I think it's kind of clear in this scene that there's like a filter or like a certain level of color grading on this entire music video, where I feel like it's supposed to be reminiscent of film, but it's not shot on film because we can, like, film has like this granular effect on the lighting that isn't here in the other scenes, but it's tried to be color graded to look like film instead, which film has like a romantic aspect to it, and we think of it as a lot more like artistic feeling. Yeah.
No, for sure. And yeah. We'll just talk about that last point a little bit, but I think like raising that artistic aspect is, in a way, again, like putting yourself up and your own community up and increasing your own kind of image and value, and saying, yeah, we're kind of the main character here. We also deserve representation and media and high production, or not just kind of shoe in, I guess, so-called, you know, like token minority, like slapped onto something else. So I think that's important for sure. And one thing I just want to go back and look at again is there's this scene where they're in the room, and this kind of where rather than everyone kind of standing by and like looking very unbothered and gazing at the viewer, obviously Fijiana's the main character, but everyone else here is just kind of laughing along and doing everyday things, still very unbothered, still very like in their own space, right? And the showing of daily life and community is very important. But there's like little things, right? Like they're eating with their hands, laughing with each other, you know, like there's this sense of like this common like racism that's always felt towards South Asians, that like, oh, you know,
Yeah,
eating with your hands, you like, that's so uncivilized. You know, real civilized people eat with utensils, which is totally projection of like a white culture. But also it's like a sense of colorism, because they don't say the same thing about chopsticks, which are different than forks and knives either.
They do, where they like stab the chopstick into the
Oh,
food.
yeah, for sure.
Know?
But I think there's like definitely a level of colorism associated with like the like hands eating thing. But just like, I guess, like including that, but also mixing that with, you know, like casual clothes, just kind of builds that image of that local space and belonging.
It's also nice to kind of see the like her friends or her supporters in a more relaxed state. That Fijiana is also relaxed, when in the other scenes in the music video they're like more high production, where they have like a full glam on, but now they're like in more relaxed clothes that's like less tight, that's more comfortable. And she's also wearing a shirt that says like "Women don't owe you shit," which like I feel is very representative of like her entire attitude this video. And she's also smoking weed, which she talks about her like deep love of smoking weed, because she's been like smoking since she was like 17, and it's like really helped her like mentally through a lot of things. And I think this experimentation is super like Californian almost.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, weed in California, that's probably one of the most California things ever, for sure. But yeah, I think it all just ties to the idea of just like everyday life and being comfortable and kind of making your own choices, which again, it totally ties into like a feminine queer gaze of self identity, rather than being pushed around by like a white man, pretty much. And I think those are all the topics we wanted to talk about today. But yeah, again, a lot of this is repeating that we didn't kind of hone in every single time there's like the sugar cane that keeps on showing up, right? But yeah, I think it was a really powerful video. Especially impressed that the cast is all women of color. Very impressive, and thank you so much for listening.